Okay, so today we're talking about the English Bill of Rights. Let's review. First, we left off the third quarter with the fall of Rome in the year 476 Common Era. After the fall of Rome, people turned to a social structure called feudalism as their form of social contract with their government. And feudalism worked for a very long time all throughout Europe, but then in the year 1215, the rich lords, the rich nobles living over in England got sick and tired of King John's bad behavior, and so they made the Magna Carta. After the Magna Carta, we saw a time called the Age of Exploration when people decided to leave Europe and go explore the New World. So you watched some videos on the Age of Exploration and you learned about the specific motives for why people chose to leave. Some of those people that chose to leave were the Pilgrims. They left England and they were headed for Jamestown, and they did not find Jamestown. They landed somewhere else and they started a new colony called Plymouth. And because they found this new land and this new colony, they had to come up with their own government, and so they made the Mayflower Compact. And then we get to the document we're learning about today, which is the English Bill of Rights. So once again, we saw feudalism spread all throughout Europe, and right there you see on the screen that is the continent of Europe. Then we see Magna Carta is a document that was made in England. And I'm showing you this map because I just want to make sure that you can see where these documents were created. This is important to know. The Magna Carta was made in England. And England is right here. It is on the other side of the ocean. You live right here. We are in Florida. So this was a document that was made all the way over here in England. After the Magna Carta, we saw the Age of Exploration, and people went to explore the New World. Upon their exploration, we saw the Jamestown, which is the first permanent English settlement in North America. Again, the Pilgrims tried to go to Jamestown, but they started Plymouth. Plymouth is where the Mayflower Compact was made. Now, the Mayflower Compact was made on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. So over here we have the Mayflower Compact is made. Back over in England is where the Magna Carta was made. And then today what we're learning about is another document called the English Bill of Rights. And this, just like the Magna Carta, was made in England. So let's get started on our notes. We are on ISN page 81, and we're going to title this English Bill of Rights. This is the English Bill of Rights. And let's jump right in here. Ever since King John had agreed to the Magna Carta in England in 1215 AD, people in England had agreed that the king or queen couldn't just do whatever they wanted. Even the king had to obey the law. So the rich lords in Parliament wanted more rights than just the ones in the Magna Carta. So they came up with a new document. So what I did here was I drew a rectangle. It's about 6 spaces tall. This document is the English Bill of Rights. The date of this document is December 1689. And so I just added a little sketch there of the English Bill of Rights. And let's add some notes. First, you need to know that it was made in England. So back on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, this document was made in England. This document took the Magna Carta even further. The English Bill of Rights expanded on what the Magna Carta had started. And this document prevented the king or queen from having absolute power. And this was a problem that was happening in France, where their king or queen had absolute power. Just like the Magna Carta, the English Bill of Rights also limits the king's or queen's power. And the English Bill of Rights gave more rights and powers to Parliament. Parliament is an important word for you to know. Parliament is just the legislature in England. This is the government body. The law-making group of people in England is called Parliament. It's called a Congress in our country today, but in the year 1689, our country did not exist. There are many liberties and concepts that come out of the English Bill of Rights. So we're just going to identify a handful here. Some of the key liberties and concepts that I need you to know for the purposes of our 6th grade curriculum. Okay, so first, no new laws. The king or queen can't make new laws. They couldn't invent new courts or judge cases on their own. Parliament had to agree. So they couldn't make any new laws. They also couldn't make any new taxes or decide on new taxes without Parliament. Another thing is they couldn't have their own army. The king or queen can't keep an army unless there's a war or Parliament agrees. And the reason for that is so they can't use the army to threaten Parliament. So the king or queen cannot do any of these things without Parliament. Essentially, after the English Bill of Rights is created, Parliament is really in charge of England. Another important liberty for you to know from the English Bill of Rights was the freedom to bear arms for protection. The king and queen can't stop people from having guns or swords to defend themselves unless there's a law passed by Parliament. So once again, this cannot happen without approval from Parliament. And the third one I want you to know is freedom of speech. The members of Parliament, when they wrote the English Bill of Rights, they wanted the ability to speak freely in their government. So what I did here was I just drew a little sketch of a person talking. When we get to the United States Bill of Rights, what you're going to see is some of these concepts, some of these liberties are repeated again in the United States Bill of Rights. And that's because the idea of having a Bill of Rights came from England. So this is just 3 sort of brief outlines from the English Bill of Rights that I need you to know, but there is so much more. And when you get to civics next year, you will dig deeper into this. So that is our notes for the English Bill of Rights. Please make sure you take a clear picture of this and upload it to Edsby. Have a great week.